at the National Institute of Urban Affairs. Today's session is about the Finance and Accounting module and its implementation in the Greater Chennai Corporation. From the Greater Chennai Corporation, we have Mr. P.R. Krishnamurthy, who's going to be representing the GCC. We were supposed to have Mr. Vishu Mahajan as well as the Chief Finance and Accounting Officer, but they are both on leave or at site. So we are going to wait for 2-3 minutes for Hitesh sir to join, who's the director at NIUA.
I've already joined.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So I would now like to introduce Shri Hitesh Vaidya, who's the director at National Institute of Urban Affairs, to kindly set the context and welcome the speaker, Shri P.R. Krishnamurthy from GCC. So over to you, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
You're audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, to Chennai Municipal Corporation that they have come forward to share the finance and accounting module, the best practices. Thank you all the participants who have joined in this workshop, which we are organizing to share the best practices on finance and accounting module here. Yes. Sorry. Okay. First of all, before I'm sorry for some technical glitch, but I think it's okay now. First of all, I would like, why are we doing finance model? And my question is, we all know that whatever action in the urban local body which we are taking has a consequences. And these actions, what we do, we make choices. And these choices are made based on the finances of urban local bodies, what we have, what we are expecting, what we want to achieve. And all these choices which all the urban local bodies or make have a consequence on the quality of life. So that is the broad objective, all of us at the urban local body level or at the center level, is how do we bring quality of life to our citizens. And all financial management, while we are talking about accounting manual or something else, what we are trying to do is bring the financial management in place. And what we are doing in financial management is we are creating optimization of resources for a greater good, for a public good. And that is the biggest priority we have. And the role of National Institute of Urban Affairs is how do we support, how do we equip state and cities under this National Urban Digital Mission is to improve the financial goals of urban local bodies so they can achieve through a sustainable efforts, a better financial management systems and try to improve the quality of life of citizens. So for NIUA, it is we equip with you to the tools. We can share the best practices. We can equip you with the different types of actions different urban local bodies across the country has taken, so that the knowledge which we share helps in making an informed decision making. And that is what the major role of NIUA, being a think tank, being an aggregator of knowledge, is to disseminate that knowledge. And I think the better way of disseminating knowledge is not through just giving a classroom lectures or doing exposure visit, but I think the best way to spread the knowledge is through peer-to-peer learning. And this workshop is actually bringing this peer-to-peer learning together. Where the achievements done by GCC are being shared to a larger cohort of urban local bodies who all are trying to work, is improving their financial management system. And so for us, it is the discussion which I particularly feel should really look at it is up in a policy framework is enabled enough that it gives you that flexibility, because even National Accounting Manual was launched in 2006-07. I was a part of the team which really worked on drafting this accounting manual, but we still see not much has been achieved so far. So there must have been challenges. So we will use this platform, and I request all of you to really see what really stops you to really move forwards to adopting National Accounting Manual. So we need to come up with the challenges. Also, what are the processes we can really improve or think? Because while we are talking about technology and leapfrogging through technology for a financial management, I think it's also how do we re-engineer our processes? Because otherwise, business as usual approach, if we do, then it is garbage in and garbage out. But if we are using a technology, then how do we really go back and start re-looking at our processes, which improves the financial management system? So I welcome all of you for this session with on National Accounting Manual. I congratulate and thank Chennai Municipal Corporation for coming forward, sharing their knowledge. Because महाभारत में भी कहा गया है जितना knowledge share करोगे knowledge उतना ही बढ़ता है. So I think GCC becoming a lighthouse for the number of cities is a great effort, and I thank my team which bringing this learnings from different parts of the country, so that this NUDM does not really remain as a technology platform or a upyog platform, but it start becoming upyogi to the cities, and that is our cities start seeing value in this, not only through the technology point of view, but also through process point of view, through program finding, and also to actual its broader objective, linking cities with citizens. And I think that is the major objective which we are really moving forward. And I hope this workshop will take that journey and forward and improve the as I was telling just 5 minutes back, was in India we all have to agree the winds of change has started blowing. It is our responsibility how to accelerate it, how to direct it, so that we get a right result and a right recipe for a right dish on the plate. So with that, I congratulate all of you for joining, and thanks once again, Chennai Municipal Corporation, for sharing the knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time. Hitesh sir has very kindly and clearly elaborated the pain points of the cities and the states as to why a system re-engineering needs to happen using this technology. I would now next like to invite Sri Karunakaran, who's the Chief Accounts Officer of the GCC. He has joined us for this meeting. Sir, may I please invite you to share your insights and set the context of this presentation?
Good morning to all. I am Karunakaran, Chief Accounts Officer, Chennai Corporation. We are implemented the double entry accounting system in 1984 onwards, and with the National Municipal Accounting Manual from 2011 onwards, with the ERP online from eGov team. eGov will talk. Now Mr. PRK explain all our features in our ERP system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Sri PR Krishnamurthy, who is leading the effort on behalf of GCC. He comes from the eGov Foundation and has 25 years of experience in development and government sector, as well as more specifically with the F&A module. Sir, may I please invite you to kindly reiterate about yourself as well as start the presentation. We would be projecting it from our side.
Oh, okay. Projection will be okay. Thank you. Good morning, all. Can you hear me?
You're audible. Please continue.
Yeah. I'm PR Krishnamurthy from eGovernance Foundation, and we have been associated with this ERP implementation. Way back in 2008, we had a product called ERP, which was specifically designed and developed for Chennai Corporation, and it was rolled out from 2011. 2012 onwards, the financials were up and live, and it's almost more than a decade. And now GCC is looking forward for ERP 2.0 version, which is an advanced version based on the learnings they had with ERP 1.0 on upyog platform. So So point is, whatever we are going to showcase now will be the base for the Upyog platform, which is going to come up really in short time, maybe in 2-3 years, it will be up and running. So meanwhile, let me start with the presentation.
Sir, can you see the screen? You're on mute.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'm going to start the slideshow. Give me a minute. You'll have to give me prompts when you want me to change the slide.
Yeah.
I'm going on mute. Thank you.
Okay. Scope study, and they will be the PMU for this project. This timeline ends with 2015, but it is a continuous progress. What I try to say here is implementation of IT is not a one-time effort. It is a journey, as we can see from this implementation timeline. Next slide. Yeah. This rollout strategy, actually, they started with non-financial modules that is easy for them to implement without impacting their day in operations, like PGR, that is public grievance redressal, which had a huge impact on the citizen side. So citizen friendliness was the key focus of GCC. And then slowly the receipts, challans, it went in a very phased manner. I can talk about that. But the success of this implementation is because of complete on-site team to do a training and repression training on a frequent basis. And the management buy-in on this initiative, like they will be issuing enabling orders time in, time out for restricting manual operations whenever there is a release of a certain feature in an online mode. They will clearly mention that orders, and they will not allow any exceptions to follow. That is the reason for this 100% adoption of applications in Greater Chennai Corporation. Next slide. This is the architecture we have presented to them in 2008. You can clearly see that financial accounting, we also felt that financial accounting should be the core, and all the functional areas are getting interlinked to the financial accounting module. On the top right, you can see all the revenue modules and the miscellaneous collections coming into the financials through the receipt management. And on the left side, all the engineering and other functional areas which are getting integrated to the receipt manager. Again, see, even though they are not revenue modules, they also has some payment to be received for fees and other payments. So they also get integrated into financials. Other than the functional areas, the financial aspects are being taken care, and I'm talking about the financial aspects alone here. I'm not going to talk about the functional aspects of these modules. And in the bottom, they have this internal efficiency like payroll, pension, fixed assets, and their works management and their inventory management. As you can see, whichever has a citizen interface are brought out in the top, which is very critical, and whichever having an internal efficiency are brought down at the bottom. And at the bottom down layer are the core infra, like role-based access, workflow, security authentication. And then we thought about this GIS platform way back in 2008 itself. It was GIS enabled. Right now, it is GIS integrated. I'll talk about it later. And they have this vehicle management, workshop, legal case management, and other functional areas. See, initially we started with 13 modules here, but right now we have more than 25 functional modules working, which all got integrated into the financial and accounting system. Next slide. The unique features of this financial and accounting, they have the tools and reports. We will talk about it in detail. Actually, it will aid them in efficiently closing the year-end accounts. And in fact, after 2012 rollout, 4 years of account closure was completed in 9 months. The 4 years of account closure due to this transition was stagnant. And normally the account closure will take a year or two for them prior to our rollout. But after that, it happened. All the backlogs are closed in 9 months, and then it was happening in 3 months max. And then auditing will take its own time, but the closure will be done within 3 months of the account. And another feature is the subledger. Subledger is one of the unique feature where they can take the individual entity level expenses for the contractors, for the suppliers, for the telecommunication like telephones and other connections and other services. Drill down. See, the system is designed in such a way that trial balance will be automatically generated. And this trial balance has a drill down option. We will show that in the screenshots coming below. And income expenditure is one more feature. The highlight here is this income expenditure can be taken for the GCC as a whole, or to the department level, or to the function center or a cost center level. And one more feature is the auto journalization. Any functional transaction happening on the field will get journalization automatically and gets an entry into the GL of the financial system. Next slide. Next slide, Nadu. Yeah. So because of this, ULB financial health will be clearly visible, and the creditworthiness of ULBs has improved a lot. Effectiveness of the finance function, like auditing, closing books, were happening on time. Compliance, this is one of the key aspects. Compliance with policies, budget, and standards. Because the system has an inbuilt validation in all these areas, compliance was a matter of ease actually after this rollout. Reporting requirements for various stakeholders has been devised, and auditability of the transaction history is made simple at a single point. They can track down to the source level, and financial performance is visible through dashboards, and which help them. All these things are happening only because of a good finance related practices, document discipline, and a lot of other principles has been implemented into this, which has resulted in this. Next slide. Yeah. So this is a generic fundamental blocks of any good financial management product. The core accounting engine will have a general ledger posting. As I was talking, any functional transaction happening in the field will get posted as a GL entry automatically, which was devised into the system, which enabled impact on balancing debit credit on each transaction. It is all validated, and a person cannot deviate this. So generating account statements real time was enabled. The standard business rules. NMAM compliance is one of the key point actually. Initially, they had a 3-digit chart of account. With NMAM, it is 9-digit. And this integration validations, posting from sources will have its own built-in validations. And one more feature is the deduction management. Earlier, they used to suffer. If they are paying some 1,000 bills, they will be deducting mandatory deductions in the 1,000 bills, and consolidating that was a big challenge. But after this implementation, the deduction management was made easy because it gets automatically consolidated, and they can pass through a single check or a payment entries. Don't run through. Okay. State and ULB specific. See, master definition by ULBs. The NMAM is a standard, but as per that standard, the chart of account masters were defined by ULB with a special cell consulted when appointed, and they had a detailed study, and they came out with this chart of accounts with a state specific chart of accounts. Numbering formats for vouchers, bills were followed. Workflows for different types of bill. Workflow is very dynamic. Workflows are very dynamic, and it can be customized on the spot based on the requirements. Integration with third-party systems was enabled. Next slide. Okay. So the same concept in a different way. The masters are generated for the bank account, for the chart of account, fund. GCC had 4 funds actually. 01 as a municipal fund or a revenue fund, 02 as a capital, 03 as a elementary education fund. They have education function as a separate with a separate fund, and then 04 is a earmark funds. And here the function is that within the department, based on the nature of activity, the functions are grouped so that function wise, that is the cost center wise, IND, P and can be taken out. And the applications like bank reconciliation is one, expenditure processing, revenue recording. These are the two major things where the number of transactions will be high. And then coming to period end processing, asset management, budgeting, deduction management, contract transaction, or the period end processing groups. Asset reporting, budget reports, MAS report, financial statement, accounting reports are the reporting heads in which we can see all these things. Let us get into that. Next slide. Okay, the key components. In general, it is an NMAM compliant. The chart of accounts has been created for the ULB specific thing with the transaction attributes and reports. It is very flexible. Financial years and closure period are flexible. And they have ready API for easy integration, so that integration with all the payment gateway integrators, registration department, and other metro water, it's all possible. Bill processing, payment processing, bill processing, generation of bills, varied items like purchases, works, and salaries. These are the three major groups. And other than that, sundry. And payment processing, payment are processed on type of expense, including salary, contingent, purchase, and all. We will talk about that in detail later. Receipt processing, from receipt processing, any functional module or a revenue module which needs a receipts are all categorized and they are grouped under a single horizontal module called collections module, which handle all the receipts. And they have a service-wise, as bank-wise, configurable remittances. Next slide. Budgeting. Right now, they create a budget and then this budget is getting uploaded, but the system has a capability of creating the budget from the grassroots level. And they do that, but finally, before finalization, they take all these things and have a centralized discussion with the commissioners and mayor. And based on that, there will be some modifications which will not be falling under the process. So they have this option of uploading the budget. But in the forthcoming thing, they are planning for a seamless budget creation from the grassroots level. Budgetary controls happens at two levels, one at the planning and one and the transaction. Normally, now bills will be having a budget control, but in GCC, they also have a planning budget control, which is flexible and configurable. Every now and then, they will be asking for certain flexibility in that. For capital account, a planning budget ratio has to be changed, kinds of thing. And budget enforcement, it's completely enforced. System will not allow any person to exceed the budget, but at the same time, budget reappropriation requests are made easy in the system itself, so that if there is any budget constraint, they can do a reappropriation and then they can proceed forward. Asset management. On the asset front, they have asset categorization, depreciation, capitalization, and this capitalization happens automatically as and works get completed and a completion certificate is getting generated. Assets revaluation, sale and disposal can also be marked through the asset management module. Next slide. Contra entry. Depositing checks to the bank account and transferring fund from one account to another account, or transferring funds from one fund to another fund. Even that is possible through an inter-fund transfer. Cash deposit. Reconciliations based on the bank reports and the reports generated in the system, reconciliations are being done. And this has to be considered as an automatic reconciliation in the forthcoming ERP 2.0, which will be based on Upyog. Deduction management, deduction of recovery at the time, and then consolidating it, configuration is possible, and they have all the flexibility, which I will be showing in my application screens, possibly at the end of this presentation. Period and activities, closure of a period, transfer of closing balances and opening balance updates, validation is all happening. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the collection avenues, that is the way in which the collection comes, has revenue components like property, company tax, professional tax, trade license, shopping complex, entertainment tax, and right now they are going in for the hoarding tax. All these things are the avenues for collection, major collections. And the channels, when we started, it was counter point of sale and online. But as we go on, it increases. We had a direct bank as also one of the channel, and ATMs have been set up. We are one of the first to introduce a property tax collection through BPPS in the ULB sector. And UPI and QR are other modes in which channels in which collections happening. And remittances happens in a centralized way, so that bank reconciliation is made easier. Okay, next. Impact in collection, as we discussed, it is centralized. And it includes all modes of collection. And this is the point. When we started this in 2012, their collection was 350 crores, and right now it is 1,500. The growth is uniform all through the years. So it explains that there is a lot of potential. Only thing, we have to tap the potential through right ways and means and tools. Faster and convenient challan payments. The miscellaneous payments are paid through challans, and this challan automation has reduced the citizen wait time from 6 hours to 15 minutes. Because they have a centralized treasury system. There was a delay earlier, and now it is all online, and they are able to do that. Real-time visibility of revenues are happening because of this centralized collection mode. So they are they feel better to do their financial outflow planning based on the cash inflow and the expected cash flow, and helps corporation to plan its expenditure. And they also have a concept of comparing this with the previous year always, so that their plans will be more realistic. Bank reconciliation on the remittances of the checks is done faster. Okay, next. This is the process flow. ERP 1.0 or whatever it is. The revenue applications are the one which has the demand and demand register. And based on the demand, whenever a citizen or an assessee who wants to pay that will be paying that amount based on the demand. But GCC has the flexibility for partial payments also against the demand, and whatever getting collected will be issued with a receipt, and along with the receipt, all the account entries until the GL consolidation all happens automatically at the back end, and then this receipt purchases are being generated. Next. Okay. So engineering works is one of the major work. Their spend is max on this. They have the complete budgetary control in the system. And initially, they had some 1,500 manual budget books to track their budget. But now we have a consolidated single point budget appropriation register, planning budget appropriation. This is what I was talking about. There is a two level of budget control, one at the planning stage itself and one at the actual expenditure side. On the planning side, they have a buffer. This buffer ratio will get changed dynamically year on year based on their planning activities. They will decide it and it will be implemented in the system level, so that the budget appropriation doesn't overshoot one, and it will not be underutilization two, it will be optimum. They are ensuring that because of this two-level control. Complete visibility into the progress of all the public works, all payments through RTGS advice to the contractors. Even this contractor RTGS, they have a consolidated payment option. If a contractor submitted 10 bills in 10 different departments, when it is coming to payment, all the 10 bills will get consolidated and will be paid as a single payment. Review of works across region, across zone, ward, department, type of work, nature of work, contractor, duration, all these sort of filtered reviews can happen through the work reports. Next. Payments, 7,000 crore of payments with over 1.5 lakh BPV handled by the system on an annual basis. Line departments approve the bills. Approved bills are posted to financials for payment, and real-time visibility into the expenditure of the corporation is because all these approved bills will get consolidated bank-wise, type of nature of expense-wise, and a centralized concurrence mode is happening in the FM unit, Financial Management Unit, which is headed by the Chief Accounts Officer, Karnagaran, and the payments are based on the fund availability. Corporation has more than 150 bank accounts, and it will be difficult if it is done on a bank wise. So they have consolidated reports for that, which I'll be showing at the end. Payments are through RTGS. Manual checks are being issued right now for ITGST, and even they are planning to go into online mode soon through ERP 2.0. Okay, next. This is the expenditure management process flow. Bill will be created by the line department. It will come into the finance. Every transactional function is controlled by a dynamic workflow as the base. Finance workflows and the bill voucher, budget checks happen, accounting updates happen, and the payment vouchers are getting created, BPs, and payments are done in bulk through RTGS and other modes. Okay, next. This is one of the important slides. How a financial module has an impact on the citizen services. Normally, when we talk about citizen services, we talk about the services at the front end, but actually finance, which is one of the back end, which has a huge impact for the property tax, the payments, receipts. They will see the users can take receipts of their previous payments, know their dues, service requests are getting tracked. And in the grievance redressal, they can raise the request, track them, reopen them, feedback. In the professional tax, they can do online registration with the payment, renewal, and payments. Company tax, they can register, renew, and payment. Shop rent, they can pay online and they can see their DCBs online. Building license, they can register, and online plan scrutiny happens. Fee payments and other document submission also happening online. Road cut request, citizens can register, and the fees for that is automatically computed by the system, which they can pay through the centralized one, and trade license renewal and payment happening. Next. This is one of the slides which shows what is the impact in terms of manpower gained in the public works department. Let me talk about one use case. For a work order, 80,000 work orders are generated, amounting to 10,000 crores. But for one work order to happen, a person has to sit and prepare an estimate, and that estimate has to go through processes like tech sanction, budget sanction, and admin sanction, and then a tender, and then a tender negotiation, and then only it will reach the work order thing. But here, preparing an estimate was made simple in the functional module itself through the schedule of rate automation, and the user has to just pick out the line items and the quantity, and everything happens online. So the time gained is computed on a whole, and we have given it as an impact on the right side. Similarly, in financial accounting, more than 40 lakh financial vouchers are passed, and it is all system validated. So a person need not spend a lot of time and effort into that. Errors are reduced. More than 10 lakh payments amounting to 25,000 crores has happened through the system. And the system is a complete high traffic system, so that 10 lakh revenue receipts alone is getting generated in a year. So you can see what is the quantum of operations happening here. Okay, next.
Krishnamurti ji, there are two panelists, or two attendees who have raised hands. Maybe we can invite them to ask their questions.
Yeah. I'm fine with any interactive queries here. You only said at the end there will be Q&A, so I was going through. In fact,
can
I'll
I
be
please?
happy.
All right, thank you. Can I invite Suda West Bengal and Nagar Nigam Saharsa if they have any questions?
Hello.
Are we audible?
You're audible, but I'm not able to hear others.
Yeah, neither are we. Maybe we can continue with the presentation and then wait for them to.
Yeah. See, when we go to the actual screenshots, we can talk in detail about each aspect and the fields, which will be more useful. That is my point of view, but I'm open here.
Sure. So I would invite all the attendees to please raise your questions wherever you want, and we'll invite you to have a discussion with the presenter. Thank you. Over to you, Krishnamurti sir.
Yeah. Indu, go to next slide. Okay. So about this NMAM compliant reports, financial statements like balance sheet, income expenditure, accounting reports like trial balance are all automatically generated. There is no manual intervention or manual effort required. Only the functional transactions are taken as the base, And I will show it in a reverse way from a top-down approach, how a balance sheet can or an income expenditure can reach up to the level of a transaction. I will show that in my actual screens. And bank books, subledger reports, remittance reports. The remittance report is one of the highly beneficial feature for them. MIS reports like check issue, bill register. Okay. Okay. Budget appropriation, budget variance, asset register, all these things we have talked about, but all these things are compliant to NMAM and the chart of account, which I'll be showing in my app screens. Next slide. Citizen empowerment. This is what proposed actually. The GIS computed property right now, what is ongoing and what is to be done as what is to be visualized or being shown here. GIS survey has happened with a drone, and then the property area computed via GIS was compared with the user declared area, and resurvey area of properties which had a variation has been done, which improved the property demand base. Budget allocated for capital works in the regions. Right now, it is a centralized budget. Now, the regions can have a flexibility to handle their budgets actually. And there is a proposal to affix QR code for all the properties, including public properties, so that the owner or the tenant can request the service by just scanning the QR code. That is going to happen right now. And ongoing works with work value, contractor payments made, expect defect liable, all these things are published at the venue of the work. So actual spend versus progress involved. This is one which is dreamt about. I don't know how far this will happen versus estimated project. And they have a participatory forum. Before taking up any major capital work, they will be calling for a meeting with the citizen community. And based on the feedback, they take up works. And a property tax, DCB, and the spend in a respective ward to the ward councillors are proposed so that they will know what is their revenue and what is their expected spend in their wards, enabling the councillors to have more control and more operational. Okay, next slide. Okay, let us come to the best practices. Automating the financial processes. GCC has implemented a number of financial processes automation, and one such thing is consolidation of contractor payments. And day end, bank-wise, service-wise, remittance reports auto-generated so that remittance becomes easier. They need not prepare any remittance vouchers manually. And a consolidated BRV for the day for revenue collections. Even though the receipts may be 1,000, they'll be having one BRV based on the service type and a bank-wise, so that generalization will become easier. And GPF and CPS ledgers are updated on payable process. It's all interlinked. Consolidated bank-wise pay advice for both payroll and pension. Centralized check bounce marking and tracking of collection against risk. This is one of the key points where a lot of ULBs are struggling. Tracking their bounce checks and then doing collection against it. Whereas this finance system has a centralized check bounce marking option, and whatever check or bounce which are been marked, they can track the collections against that bounce check. And it is a system generated report. And tracking happens automatically by the system, and they can view the report, and based on any gaps, they can take action. This has helped them improve internal efficiency as well as reduce cost. Yeah, next. The system has a very strong internal control system, which is very much essential because, as you know, GCC is a very old organization, and the average age of the employees sitting here is around 45 to 50. So we need a robust system and as well as simple system, so that they can be easily adaptable to that, which will prevent the fraud and errors. So the various validations built into that, I'll list a few actually. A budget control. so that they need not go and check the budget. It will automatically prompt a message. And if they want a detail, they can get into the budget appropriation register and see what are all the actual spend happened and what is the balance. System validates zero difference between the credit and debit in all the vouchers. And a single cost center validation also happens so that the IND can be taken cost center wise. Capital work payment are enabled only through RTGS mode. So there is no errors creeping in at the time of check writing or something like that. Workflows are dynamic and system dependent, which I already told. Subledger selection is mandatory for all chart of account. It is mandatory, so they cannot do away with it, and everything is getting properly captured. See, the importance is at the time of a transaction, all the essential fields are captured with the mandatory function, so that further going down, all the reports will be pakka and complete. Okay, recovery remittance report for all deductions happens. There are other measures also, segregation of duties, reconciliation, which resulted in a very robust system. Next slide. Regular audits. GCC has a pre-audit by way of a unit accounting cell, which is the finance arm itself, sitting in every department at the time of a transaction happening. And then GCC also conducts regular audits of financial statements by a local fund audit. In addition to that, a performance audit is conducted by the AG's office. So all these things help them to have an accurate and reliable system. Okay, next. Timely information. GCC provides, this is very evident. If everything happens in a validated way and a consolidated way, financial information will be available on a timely nature. And the tools which help them to get this financial information is the centralized concurrence and the validation of the function center in every transaction, so that IND up to the level of a function center is happening. Real-time budget appropriation report, planning budget appropriation, collection performance report compared to previous year against a set target for a specific duration, against some filters like jurisdiction, type of property, nature of service, whatever it is. Data-driven decision, payment prioritization for certain types of works, nature of works, or for certain departments, or for certain beneficiaries. Anything can happen, which can be system configured based on the data. Next. Okay, now we are getting into the actual application. This is the trial balance. Trial balance is the first thing which any financial person will like to see, so that he can validate and he can clean up the accounts. So this is the trial balance. It shows chart of account wise. You can see in the second column that account number. This is the 9-digit chart of account, and which one is starting with 1 is the income, revenue, 2 is the expenditure, 3 is the liability, and 4 is the assets and liabilities. Okay, and as you see that once you click on any specific line item, which is the chart of account, click on any specific next slide. Now, okay, so this chart of account, for example, the GL report of a particular chart of account for the capital fund and revenue account is shown here. So the chart of account drill down to the journal level. All the journals or the GL will be visible here. And you can also see the department at the second column. On the debit side, the departments will be there. On the credit side, the departments will be there. Okay, next slide. Once I click on the journal, the actual voucher, the detailed voucher will be shown here. What is happening is for the function direction in the electrical department, on the capital fund, the revenue account, what is the debit and what for it is, the retention money, it has been taken against the retention money, which is the credit. Okay, and here there is a field called source. I click on the source, the actual bill can be visible. Click. This is the bill actually. And based on this, that journal, and based on that, the GL, and based on that, it gets into the trial balance. This is the flow actually. coming from the top and the trial balance going to this voucher. It starts from the bill and goes up to the trial balance. This is the flow. Okay, next slide. And this is one of the dashboard. As you see, the balance sheet is also automatically generated. And you can see here the liabilities. On the liabilities, the fund balance, earmark fund and reserve fund, 310, 311, 312. This chart of account is called the major account code. And for each major account code, there is a schedule number, corresponding schedule number, and which is in blue, which has an hyperlink. It shows that it can be drilled down. Once I click on that schedule number, I will be getting further details. For example, in capital work in progress, which is B13, I click next slide. No, previous slide. One slide above. Not yet. Okay, go to the next slide. I'll show. Okay, this is an income and expenditure report. I tried to map all the 3 slides into one. Income and expenditure report. As you can see, I can take it for a period and the financial year, and with the date range or as on date, both is possible. Rupees can be displayed in rupees, lakhs and thousands as they require. And this income expenditure can be drilled down to department and fund, function and functionary with a field where the jurisdiction. All these things will result in an income and expenditure. As you can see, it will be listed down with a major code. The first column is 110, 120. These are all the major code. And the schedule number is the one which is having a drill down. For example, 110 tax revenue schedule 101. You can see the right hand bottom, which will show the GLs, general ledger for that schedule. For this income, these are all the GLs which has happened, and that is getting consolidated into this amount. And I click on a particular journal, entry in the GL, I get the complete detail, which is having the detailed chart of account 110, 01, 06, 01, which is a property tax adjustment against general tax. So again, this amount can be clicked down to see the individual items. This is the way in which they do an analysis with this IND report. Okay, next. This is the fund flow analysis for the capital account. Here, we can see the banks and the fund, it is a capital, in the chart of account, which is a 9-digit NMAM account, and the account number on the bank. What is the opening balance as per the system? And what is the current receipt in the bank? So that, and the other two are for fund transfers. So resulting is the fund available. This is the net fund available. And the one in pink, which will show the concurrence done for the day. So this is the one in blue is the funds available, and one in pink is the concurrence done for the day. Funds available minus concurrence will be the closing balance. And other than that, what is the outstanding BPVs, amount of outstanding BPVs, which are yet to be concurred, is also shown in the last column. So they know what is their bank balance, what is the concurrence or what is the payment done for the day, and what is the remaining balance, and what is the outstanding balance which has to be happening. For example, they have some 20 crores and outstanding payments to happen is only 6 crores. So they are well within their limits. This can be seen in a single page instead of going into each bank, taking that account. They have a consolidated way for a capital account. Next slide. Same way on the revenue side, revenue account, they have all the payment details. For example, this current receipt is 100 crores in the 5th or 6th column. Yeah, in the 6th column, this 100 crores has happened through a fund transfer. And this is a salary-based expenditure. So they transferred 100 crores into the payment bank, and the salaries are getting paid. Funds available is 1,900. Concurrence for the day is 1,000, so that they have some balance. This is how it has viewed. So they know the overall picture of the bank balances. They can do interfund transfer or interbank transfer based on their funds availability, so that whatever concurred will be paid without any hiccups. Okay, next slide. Okay. This is where whatever payments initiated from the line departments and through the unit accounting cell will get forwarded into a central location called the FM unit, financial management unit. Now they will be initiating concurrences or giving proceeding with the payment process, for which this screen is given. And this happens in a bulk mode. Even though we call it as a bulk mode, they can drill it down by the nature of fund, by the major chart of account, by the function, by the department, and even they can do payments bank wise. In which bank they want to do the payment, they can select the bank, so that any payments which can be paid through that bank, which has been configured, which can be paid through that bank only, will be appearing. So all these filters will enable them to bring out the list of payments which are due for payment and where GCC is ready for the payment. Next screen. Next screen. Yeah. So now putting all these filters, payment vouchers for 0 to capital fund. These are all the payments. There are around 1,500 payments, which can be scrolled down here. I cannot do that. But you can see the bank balance as well as the total. I have selected all. I've just checked the last column. I have selected all, so that what is the total payment amount and what is the bank balance is here, based on which I can unselect any major payments which cannot happen right now with this bank balance, can also be done. They have a flexibility, even though it is a bulk payment, they have the flexibility of selecting the bills for the payment. And if they have complete bank balance and if they're ready to pay, they can do the select all and go ahead with the payments. And for each line item, there is a column called details. You click on that, you can see the complete details of that particular line item BPV, so that we can check the details also, which will show the nature of expenditure and other things. And here there is a sender, from which department it is coming, and what is the current status. Any approved bills only will be coming to, so that is also seen here. Okay, next. Okay, this is the RTGS assignment. They have to assign RTGS for the payments after the payment concurrence. Here also they have bill types: fund, pay bank, subledger, payment voucher, department. All these filters are there. They can select all these filters, so that whatever line items which are complying to these conditions will get populated in the next screen. Go to next screen. So whatever conditions followed there will come to here in the screen. You can see the first column is bank-wise payment details. For example, IOB has one payment and PNB has one payment, and RBI Chennai branch has some 15 payments. Bank-wise payment due as a total, as on date, RTGS date, which is yesterday, that is 35. What is the amount? So now once the user clicks on assign RTGS number, RTGS numbers will be assigned, RTGS reports will be generated, which can be issued to the bank for payments. So payments are made that simple actually. Okay. Next slide. And once a payment happens, see, we had the fund flow and we had the bulk payment. And once the payment happens, the user can click on this concurrence report to see what are all the payments given, what are all the payments due for the approved payments. Is the concurrence report. Here you can see whatever paid to the contractor is done through RTGS. So they are all paid with the RTGS numbers and all. Whatever the statutory deductions are not paid, because this will be paid by the department. The centralized concurrence unit will pay the major payments, and the deductions will be consolidated by the departmental user, and it will be paid through check at a later stage. Next slide. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the hello.
Hello.
Talking. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. I can hear you. Go ahead. this is okay. Let me continue. This is the budget variance report. As you see, budget variance report can be taken for any specific department and a fund with a function. We can also drill it down to the budgeted. Now, the first line is the budget, which is the financial year revision budget for 23-24. Revenue budget for 23-24. The budgeted is salaries and allowances, and the function is non-planned secondary school. Even though in education they have primary school, secondary school, four funds are there, and these four functions. What is the these are all establishment expenses. What is the budget estimate? What is the total budget estimate available? This is the additional appropriation, and then the actual expenditure. This is the actual expenditure, and then the balance. See, for one line item, I can see what is the budget and what is any additional budget, so that I know the total budget, and the actual expenses happen till date will be listed here. And I can also see the balance for that fund actually. Each budget, what is the available balance as on date, what is the actual spend up to date is also seen in this budget variance report. Next slide. And I select a particular chart of account, like 412-010-1402, which is the grant for flood mitigation fund in the department stormwater drain. And what is the available budget? 3,800 crores. 3,800 crores is the available budget. And you can see that on the passing of first bill on 3rd April, from 1st April, this budget becomes active. On 3rd April, what is the balance available? It becomes 3,754. And subsequently, for each bill payment, it gets reduced, the balance available, which is the last column. And as on 17/5/2023, the balance available is 2,170 crores. From 3,800 crores, it becomes 2,170 crores, 170 crores in the span of 50 days. This is their spend actually. So they have spent almost 1,629 crores in the 300 crores. Okay. Next slide. Okay. I think that's it. Now I'm ready for answering any of your queries here.
Thank you, sir. Would it be possible for you to give a live demo as well?
We can. Can you extend share screen option to Mohan Raj?
Has he joined as an attendee?
He's online. Yeah.
We'll check.
Yeah, do that. We will try to show some income expenditure or fund transfer, balance sheet, so that the actual drill down and actual working will definitely give better insights. Yeah, we'll do that. Meanwhile, I can take some queries. If any. Okay.
Mr. Mohan Raj, I've promoted you as a panelist. Please try and share your screen. I will stop sharing right now.
You got it?
And we've got a few people who want to ask questions. We are also simultaneously allowing them to talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, we have one question from Bangalore team where we just wanted to check that whether rescission payments account or anyway, this is accrual based accounting system where you can generate balance sheet and income and expenditure on the basis of accrual accounting system. But still the elected representatives and most of the reports is based on cash flow statement or budgetary statement. Is there any option to get rescission payments account on cash flow basis or cash flow statement of the whole organization or the Chennai Corporation?
Yes,
as a whole?
we can do that. We can do that. If possible, let me try to show that also. We have it.
Yeah, please.
Meanwhile, my colleague, Mr. Mohan, is trying to show the balance sheet for this year until today. Okay. And you can now see the balance sheet in a live environment. Based on your queries, I can click on any schedule to go into that detail, and then I can show that. Can we select some schedule number which has a lot of entries? B13, which is capital work in progress, which will have a lot of entries because it's a dynamic one. Let us click on B13 now. B13 is the schedule for capital work in progress. Meanwhile, I can take any query here.
If anybody have any queries, you can ask.
And I'm taking one from the chat. Abdul Bashir of IKM is asking whether this financial module is completely on Upyog platform. I would say yes, this financial platform is available in Upyog, but customizations has to happen based on the ULB requirements.
Well, I'm speaking from Goa.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are in the process of actually implementing the accrual-based double entry account system for the ULBs here. It's a very small state with a small number of ULBs. Okay, and while I've seen the application, it meets all the requirements. What I would be interested is actually what is the process of your migration from a cash flow system, single entry, to the double entry accounting system. You know, your experience. Of course, you may not have encountered this, but I'm just would like to know before we can include what are the kind of implementation processes that you have adopted,
Okay.
and as well as also what steps that have been taken to mitigate certain problems where the issues come up.
Yeah, I'll share my experiences, but as you rightly said, we are not migrated from a cash based to an accrual based. GCC had an accrual based system already, but it was with a 3-digit chart of account, which is very generic. We moved it into a 9-digit chart of account, which is very detailed. Let me share my experiences on that.
Yes, thank you.
Can I do that?
Yes, please go ahead.
So what we did was we took a old financial year, immediate old financial year account of the earlier system, which is a 3-digit account code. And in your case, you have to take a cash-based system and put manual efforts into transforming this 3-digit chart of account into a detailed 9-digit chart of account, which is not possible by any system. You have to have a financial expert who need to understand in a 3-digit account code, there may be some 2000 entries, out of which 100 has to be moved into one chart of account, 50 has to be, they have to identify. It is very tedious and a manual exercise. Take it in an Excel and mark it out, which can be grouped under this new chart of account. All these things has to happen. Similarly, in your case, because it's a cash-based accounting, it will not have that information of an accrual-based accounting. True. So building that into that will be a real challenge. One financial expert, one or a team of financial expert has to sit and do this mapping at an initial stage. And then you will come to know what are all the sort of transactions has to happen and what are all the sort of information has to be captured to do this accrual-based system. You will identify those and you have to try to impose those processes into your financial system. It is not only implementation of an IT system, it is actually revamping the entire financial processes in your organization to the new requirement. So it involves a lot of stages. You need to take advice of some financial consultant, set up a process and work out a plan. And then as per the plan, each step has to be taken up. It is a time consuming process. Maybe one financial year has to be dedicated for this so that you will come up with a new process. And then the next year, you have to do a trial run with your officials in handling that so that on the third year, it will become live and operational. That is how it happens here also.
Okay. What we have done over here
Hmm.
is that we have actually engaged a chartered accountant firm already for the last 1 year,
Hmm.
where they were responsible to actually arrive at a manual balance sheet
Hmm.
based on their findings.
Hmm.
Okay, and they have come up with a balance sheet also manual, which is also being audited by the concerned ULB statutory auditors, chartered accountants, and we got it approved.
Hmm.
So right now I have all the balance sheets already in place as per the National Municipal Accounting Chart of Accounts. Yeah, and from this balance is basically a retrieved from the cash flow statement, which is actually already automated since 2012 for all the years. So all the receipts and payments, your receivables, and all that are actually online as far as Goa is concerned. You know, it's always a question of actually integrating these particular modules, like a receivable modules, into the NUDM platform. I mean,
Great.
Yes.
So you have the data ready. That first
I already have the data ready.
Yeah.
It's manually already prepared.
And
Now,
based on your statement, I understand that if you have the balance sheet, you have all the details of that balance sheet, the drill down details of the balance sheet you have. That has to be moved. That has to be moved into the system, whatever system you are proposing, Upyog, that has to be moved, and then a statement has to be generated from the Upyog, and that balance sheet has to be compared with your manually computed balance sheet, and find out the discrepancies, find out where the processes are having some issues, set it right, so that one mode is corrected. And the second thing is, whatever drill down transactions you had in your balance sheet, the same kind of inputs has to be generated during the functional transactions. You have to enforce that. For that, your process or the rule book has to be generated, and this rule book has to be issued to all the users, and training has to be given, so that on the normal functioning, these processes are captured properly, and the balance sheet is generated as devised by your chartered account.
True. Yeah. In fact, this exercise we already is underway. We have also created. In fact, right now I've asked the accountants over here to come with all the proper balances. We are taking one council on a pilot basis over here, as this is concerned. You know, so right now, I've gone through the features of this particular application. You have an option there to actually feed in your opening balance entries there. So that is the first level. What we're going to do, we'll be generating a balance sheet based on that. We'll get it vis-a-vis also approved by the statutory auditor to ensure that the subsequent reports coming out from this application is, authentic,
compliant to this.
compliance with all the formats. It shouldn't be that having these reports are not, not duly audited, because auditors can make an issue if it's not really system audited. So that thing I want, once the reports have been generated, that means the opening balance has been generated from my application. I want to get it certified by the same statutory auditor who has actually certified the manual balance sheet and other related accounts, And thereafter that, we want to run a trial run for all the transactions which are happening in the councils, section-wise rated, and there again trial develop. So this is, I think, the test environment has already been provided to us by NIUA to the OPF platform. Needs have been said. I just wanted to confirm whether we are on the right page and the right track or not. That's the
you are in the right track. Based on the discussions we have, you are on the right track.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question in the chat box for you.
Let me see.
From Bipin.
Bipin ji, yeah. Bipin, you can unmute, I think.
So he's asking, do you have any internal audit system by a CA firm who certifies the financial statements, and is the LF audit team or any CA firm?
No, it is LF auditing. We have an LF audit here. Yeah.
It's the LF audit. I hope that answers your question, Bipinji.
There is a pre-audit by the internal finance team with a section called Unit Accounting Cell in each department at the time of transaction. And the next level is the LF audit does that audit. And third, performance audit. AG will do the performance audit. This is trial balance screen. I hope people can see the trial balance screen, right? Okay. This is a trial balance screen, and I can click on one chart of account to show you the. Yeah. Okay, all this 412, we are showing some grant fund.
So what happens? Can you just this particular transaction
I'm not able to hear any queries.
My name is Alok Shiromani.
Ah.
I work for the NUDM.
Can you be a bit louder?
Excellent. So we go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Alok Shiromani.
Yeah.
I work for the NUDM. I have a couple of questions, but I'll start with asking something about the capital work in progress that you have.
Capital
What
in progress.
is there a mechanism to ensure that the CWIP account gets reconciled? And you said that it's automatically converted into a fixed assets on completion, right?
On completion.
Right? On submission of a completion report.
Correct.
Now, what is there a mechanism to make sure and prevent the accumulation of CWIP? Why I ask this question is that there is a possibility of CWIP being accumulated and not reconciled and not transferred to fixed assets by submission of a completion certificate. So we are facing issues when we have large CWIP, the assets are already being used, but due to whatever technical reason, they have not submitted a completion report. So we are facing a situation wherein no depreciation is being charged on assets which are already being used.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I got you.
though I know it is not an accounting.
It is not purely an accounting thing, but I can answer this.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay. See, CWIP, any entry into the CWIP will happen only through a valid work order. Agreed? Any entry into the CWIP register will happen only through a presence of a valid work order. A work order has to be issued to a contractor, or a work has to happen, or a spend has to happen on an asset, then only CWIP will get increased. Right or wrong?
Yes, right.
Right. So we have a mechanism in a functional module called works module, where all the works which are in progress and not completed within the expected or a stipulated completion date, we have a report that can be taken department wise, function center wise. So Chennai Corporation has some 30+ departments, and with the function center, it may become 100 or 200 function centers which will carry out works. I can take the pending works which have been initiated but not completed for the department wise as a report in the system. And whenever there is a delay of a work not getting completed within the stipulated time, a penal charge has to be levied to the contractor. Hence, the contractor will ensure that he completes the work within the stipulated time, one, and he gets a final payment. See, payments happen in phases for the work. So any payment happening in the phases will be termed as a part bill, and any payment happening at the final stage is called a final bill. So on the processing of a final bill, a completion certificate will be generated by the system and ascertization happens in the system. One. Two, any pending work which is paid partially and without any final bill, I can have a provision to take the report of all those works which doesn't have a final bill, so that completion has not happened, and because of which the CWIP register getting populated function center wise. I can drill it down. What I'm trying to say is there are 10,000 works happening. I need not have a report of 5,000 works. I will be having a report of 5 or 10 works which are overshoot their deadline, but still not getting completed. And the person in charge will be asked for the reasons for the delay so that that gets completed within the time. And then the CWIP is also kept under control. I hope I have answered your query. CWIP is one final thing, but there are a lot of intermediate steps where validations and controls are built in so that CWIP is kept under control.
Yeah. Okay. So, we are facing this situation. I understand that it's not a purely an accounting question, but we have huge CWIP because the contractors are receiving payments on a running account, a running bill basis, and they don't even come for claiming the final bill, and they say, okay, the job is done, and they even forego the last payment. And so do you have a process by which you kind of see that the CWIP is knocked off and depreciation gets charged on that? Is there a process?
Yeah. See, if the contractor getting running bill and he's not bothered to take the final bill, he is running off. Okay, that is your statement, right?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, this is Aviro from Commissioner Director of Municipal Administration, Andhra Pradesh, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we are implementing double entry system in all ULBs of the state from 2009 onwards, and shifted to accrual system from 2015-16 financial year, sir. Sir, of course, we are also of course, our software also developed from eGov Foundation only.
I know. Go ahead.
So, sir, we are facing 3 issues, sir, in implementation. Basically, we don't have any auto reconciliation system in our system. So, is there any system in Chennai Municipal Corporation for auto reconciliation? And second one is also, sir, we are also facing posting of auto depreciation entries. Of course, they are posting it right now. It is manually are posting, but there is no system for auto calculation of depreciation amount and posting of auto entries. And third one is the, sir, we are using accrual system in respect of all payments, and in receipt side we are using accrual system for property tax only, sir. In the respect of user charges, we are using a cash based only. These are 3 my queries, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
The first one, auto reconciliation. I won't say that GCC has a complete auto reconciliation system, which is partially manual. We get the reports from the bank, and that report is uploaded, and the report is having a reconciliation process happening in an Excel sheet. That is how it is happening. They have some pivot table and use certain Excel function to cull out the discrepancies and then do a reconciliation.
Okay, sir.
And in
Same
ERP
process is also
2.0, they
available.
are planning for an auto reconciliation with a bank integration. We are talking to the banks already. That is point
Okay,
number
sir.
one.
Sure.
Point
Okay, sir.
number 2, on the auto depreciation.
Sir. Our posting of auto depreciation
Yeah,
entries.
posting of auto depreciation, particularly GCC doesn't want posting of auto depreciation. They want a manual depreciation. I know you would be knowing the reasons for that, so we need not talk about it in this forum here. So they don't want auto depreciation. That is point number 2.
Okay, sir. Last one.
What is that? Can you repeat it?
Yes, sir. Actually, we are on expenditure, sir. We are following pure 100%
I got it.
completely. But on receipt, sir, we are following only property tax.
Correct. Property tax accrual system is perfect. But
Okay, sir.
we have started putting out the same kind of controls in professional tax and trade license and company tax. It is built in and it is done in phases. I won't say we are fully matured, but right now it is done in phases.
What about user charges, sir, like sewerage and water?
No. Those things are not. Other charges we are not getting into accrual.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, can I proceed with my question?
Yeah. I'm aware of your query.
Yeah. So, is there a process or is there?
Let me answer your first query. If the contractor is running away with the running bill instead of waiting for the final bill, you have to build in a mechanism to put in penal charges for the delay in the project. See, the point where he gets a final bill is the date of completion. Until that point, the project is delayed. You would be having a clause in your work order for the delay penalty in the payment conditions. If you start implementing that, then the contractor will enforce and will try to force the employee of your ULB to get a final bill on a respective date of completion of the project. Otherwise, any payments, any work order exceeding the defined end period has to impose with penalties. That has to be built into your system.
The real issue is when there are complex projects which involve several contractors and there is one completion report. So that mechanism doesn't work very much. So I know it's not.
There is also a way for that. If there is a project with 5 contractors and you will be issuing only one completion certificate because these 5 projects are interlinked into one scheme or something like that. Okay. Yeah. And here, that is why we say all the 5 contractors has to obtain the final bill. Then only the completion certificate can be issued. Final bill is one process on one stage and completion certificate is the next stage.
Yeah.
You have to have 2 different entities actually.
Okay. So one more thing, what kind of budgetary system do you have? Do you have an accrual based budget or a cash based budget?
Accrual based budget.
Accrual. Okay. So that's interesting. We'll have to dig deep into it. Maybe this is not the right time to discuss that.
You can do one thing. You can plan a visit to Chennai Corporation for study because other ULBs like Punjab, Uttarakhand, Odisha, and Kashmir, right? Okay. Even Jammu also came here. They did a study. They gone through the system. That will give you a lot of insight. Yeah, you can talk to your counterparts and try to.
Okay. And did you have to undergo a major business process re-engineering to implement this?
I won't say major, but there are a lot of business process re-engineering happened in all the stages to reach this point.
One more question. Is this system implemented only in Chennai Municipal Corporation? And what about the other ULBs wherein TNUDP was supporting?
Okay, other ULBs having a different system.
Okay.
And now their plan is all the ULBs have to go through UPO. They are doing it.
Okay.
It's not there.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
So here we are showing a trial balance. And once I click on 412, 400 and 603, that is community center, you can see the GL report of that community center here in the next screen, opening balance, closing balance. and the vouchers related to that. I click on that voucher. I'll be seeing the entire voucher actually, EJB. And this EJB will have the bill detail. It will have a bill detail. On clicking on the source, you can see the bill for that EJB. This is an expense bill. You can see the bottom is the workflow. Let me show the workflow first. See, you can see with the date and timestamp, assistant admin buildings, and then the section manager, and then assistant admin, and SM admin, and then executive engineer, and it goes to assistant one UAC. For UAC is the finance wing. And this is the workflow, and this is the bill number with the bill number, bill date, and other things. This is the budget appropriation number. This number will be seen in the budget appropriation register of this particular chart of account. And the function is 202800. Bill type. Okay, you can see the subledger is mandatory here. And then this bill subtype is electricity charges. So I know what is the bill number for that electricity charges. 0734 is the bill number. And a checklist is also provided for a lot of bills actually for the user to see that. This is to help and aid the user in preparing this bill, whether the claim is in order. Once he clicks S for all this checklist, he can ensure that all these things are there. Okay, header. This is the expense bill. Close this bill. We will see the voucher for this. This is the voucher for the bill. So, right, starting from bill to voucher, and then against this voucher, you go to the GL, and then this GL gets into the trial balance. So, bill, voucher, GL, and trial balance. This is the flow. And you can see that these are the chart of accounts and the entries, the credit and debit entries in the trial balance. By this way, I can get into each line item, and from that line item to the GL for that line item, and in that GL to the voucher inside for any specific GL, and for that specific GL, the bills and the voucher details. Bill details will be seen. The same thing of kind of reports can be taken for all the departments. Right now, it is taken for a date range. I can select it for a department. Here itself, I can do further filtering. I can select for a particular fund. I can select for a particular department. I can select for a specific function, the trial balance. And then from the trial balance, I can drill down 3-4 levels to see the bill details or a source detail in general. And what else we can show? I don't. This is the bank account.
Krishnamurthy ji.
Yeah.
Maybe we can ask for a last round of queries if they are.
Sure.
And then we can close the PPT. We have already extended the time.
Okay. Okay. This is one last thing. This is a GL report for a particular bank, Chennai Corporation Bank. And you can see on the debit side, the CSL. This is what I said, na, contra interfund transfer. They are transferring a fund from one chart of account to another fund itself. And these are the voucher numbers for the payments made on the credit side for a particular bank. This is how the trial balance. I can click on one BPV, which will show the voucher advance to LCOT, 2,67,000 from the Chennai Corporation branch. And why we have done this advance, I can click on the source and find out how this advance has been raised, by whom, when, what, all those details will be seen in this source detail. And you can look at the narration. Advance payment to purchase one number of i7 desktop computer. So now you can see the trial balance, how comprehensive it is. And the features, by way, I can drill it down to the last minute minute detail is seen here. With this, let me close my presentation as Aprithita pointed out. I missed out the timing. There is a subledger also. LCOT has a specific code and subledger. Okay. If there is any query one last time, we can address, or I'll hand it over to Aprithita.
We would like to invite everybody if there are any last queries from all the attendees. We have noted all the email IDs that have been mentioned on the chat. We will revert to you with the recording of the presentation as well as the PPT. We thank the GCC team and Sri Priyar Krishnamurthy ji for taking the time out and explaining this lighthouse example of the implementation of FNA module in the Greater Chennai Corporation. We would also request states to either write to us and we can facilitate meetings with the GCC team and Sri PRK for any further conversations that you need or any help that you need in setting up FNA modules in your own states and their cities. In the letter that was shared with you, an email ID has been mentioned. You can alternatively reach out to the state engagement team and the states box for your states for any detailed queries that you may have. Thank you, Karunakaran sir and Sri Priyar Krishnamurthy ji for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll be closing the call today.
Thanks. Thanks everyone for a patient listening.